Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to Women in the Photo Pit, a music photography podcast held by yours truly, Boston Schultz, where I interview and talk to amazingly talented female concert photographers about their journey, how they got started, and the industry as a whole. And I am so excited about all of these interviews, and I'm so thankful that you're listening to this podcast and that you found it, because I think that we touch on a lot of great tips and just advice about being in the music industry. And today's episode is a special one because I'm talking to a friend of mine, Samantha Paige, and I've known her for a few years now. She is such a great photographer and also has a great outlook of how she got started and just being in the music industry. So I really wanted to talk to her, and I'm so thankful that she did this interview. Also, just a heads up that this interview was originally filmed and recorded for my YouTube channel. So there's a few things that are a little bit weird because we weren't thinking of the podcast format when we recorded this. So please keep that in mind while you're listening, but this is a great interview and I'm so happy that you guys are listening to it. And while you're here, please follow the podcast and maybe share it with your friends because that helps me continue moving forward. And I do put out new episodes every Tuesday, so there's always something new for you guys to listen to. So please continue following because I got a lot of great content coming to you within the next couple weeks. So with all of that being said, let's jump into this week's episode where I talk to Samantha Paige. Hey Sam, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to have you, and I know that we've mentioned this on my channel previously because we've done other videos together, but we actually did an interview like 2 years ago.
Yeah, almost 2 years ago.
And that just like never came to light because I'm the worst person and I just never edited it. So and
My
then
whole
it was,
life is different now.
yeah. And it was so old that we were like, dude, we need to re-record this. So now we're doing it during quarantine, which is wild. And we live very close to each other and we still have to do this virtually. So that's fun. But anyway,
Right.
just gonna jump into this and we'll start out with a quick intro of like who you are, like how you got started in the industry, what you do, that old spiel.
Well, I'm Samantha Bass. I go by Samantha Paige Photography. And I got started because I took a couple like digital media classes in high school and kind of vibed with it and then kind of ignored it for about a year. And then I was gifted a camera and just kind of was like, hey, what if I like went and shot shows with this? Super out of the blue.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because it's been 4 years almost exactly since I started taking photography seriously. And that's insane to think about.
Very cool. So let's do like some quick fire questions. Are you a Nikon, Canon, Sony shooter or something else?
I'm a Canon all the gosh darn way. I've always been a Canon girl, forever will be a Canon girl, as tempting as Sony is.
What's your like most favorite show that you've photographed?
This answer changes quite often depending on like what my vibe is and the kind of editing style that I'm pushing, because like I do change it quite often. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to be really warm and I want to love orange, and sometimes I want to love blue and purple and pink. Um, so right now, my favorite would probably be my entire Sad Summer gallery, I guess. All of those photos are just so clean and
Nice.
sharp, and yeah, I think it's probably been my most well received photo set as well. Like people really like were like, damn, this is it. Like this rocks.
I love that.
And yeah, no, it's kind of crazy because people are like, as soon as I posted those were like, can I buy this as a print? And that was like never something that's been a thing for me before. Like people had
Oh,
never wanted to, so I was like, me? My photo? Okay.
that's adorable. Yeah, I've seen those shots, so I know what you mean because they're very good. Um,
What about your bucket list shows? What do you have that's on your list that you're like, I absolutely have to do this soon?
Um, well, my like long-term bucket list is to do Reading and Leeds. I've always wanted to shoot an international festival, and Reading and Leeds is just one of those like super iconic festivals. Like all every year, the lineup is just insane.
Yeah.
And it's recognized not even just by people like in the music industry and like in our scene, but like everybody knows about Reading and Leeds. Um, and you know, like shooting Coachella would be kind of cool. It's kind of the same caliber, but being
Mhm.
able to like do what I love overseas, it would be just so insane. So
Yeah.
that's my like ultimate bucket list item, I guess.
So let's talk more about how you got into concert photography. So can you talk about like how you started, when you started, and like why concerts and music?
So I've always been a super music oriented kid. Since I was like 8 or 9, I've always wanted to play instruments. My mom can tell you every single year for Christmas I begged for a drum kit, but we
Mm,
lived in a apartment building and that's just not possible. So she bought me a piano. I have attempted to learn like 6 or 7 instruments and most of them have not worked out. In middle school, I was in the concert band for 2 years. It was it was so good for me, but you can't really play like the flute or a clarinet in music. That's not really something that translates very well into the scene I'm into. So I was still trying to find a way to work in the industry, and throughout high school, I went to tons and tons of shows, like all the time. Was going to shows, meeting bands, just taking photos on my flip phone as like a memory holder. And I was, as I said earlier, gifted this camera by somebody, and I was like, "What the hell do I do with this? Like, what do I want to do?" And a friend of mine was really into concert photography.
mhm.
Uh, his name is Matt Saunders, Shots by Matt. Literally one of the best photographers in music, like period. I love him so much, and his work really inspired me. And I was like, "Dang, I kind of want to do that." Um, so my friends were having a show, and I was like, "Can I bring my camera?" And they were like, "Sure, go for it." So I started bringing my camera to their shows, and then I was like, "You know what? I want to like continue to take this to the next level." So I found a publication online. They were called The Camera Effect. And I was like, I want to start shooting stuff with a photo pass. So yeah, that's kind of how I got my my shit together.
I love that. So you reached out to a publication to start. Is that like
Mhm.
your recommendation for like newbies to get into the industry? Is that like kind of your favorite way to get in? Because that's also kind of how I started. And I hear that a lot. So like is that something that you like recommend for newbies?
I think it's definitely one of the easiest ways to get in into the scene and to build a portfolio. I do know tons of people who have just made artist connections and just shot their way through several shows and have just completely skyrocketed and done amazing without a publication. But for
Mhm.
most people, that's going to be the accessible way to get the shots you want and
Yeah.
get the shows you want because it's a press publicist press publicist same a publicist is not going to grant you a photo pass if they don't get um, their whole job is to provide press for this artist. Like if they don't get that in return, they might not want to let you shoot. So it's very much about, okay, do I want to shoot small club shows and work my way up, or do I want
Mhm.
to kind of skip that step? I mean, still shoot small club shows, get used to your gear, get used to your camera, but take that next step. Start shooting in smaller, a little bigger venues like House of Blues, stuff like that,
Mhm.
with decently good lighting, so that by the time you amass such a large portfolio, you can shoot arenas and stadiums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, because I do see a lot of people shoot for the stadiums. They're like, oh, I want to shoot Taylor Swift, and it's like you gotta shoot Hunter Hayes first. You know what I mean? Like,
Poor Hunter Hayes.
I love
He's
him.
not
No,
watching this, but I mean,
literally, no tea, no shade. I love Hunter Hayes. He's one of the people I want to photograph so freaking badly, but his press says no every time, and I
Oh,
don't
really?
know why. I literally would love to photograph him, but he doesn't play arenas. He plays pretty small venues, like
Yeah.
House of Blues, stuff like that. And trust me, I love shooting at House of Blues.
Yeah.
So good. But
Yeah.
it's not Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I find it funny that this is something that I heard from someone else before. I don't think it was in an interview or anything, but that there's a lot of people that come into this industry and like kind of expect that they're just going to be able to shoot Taylor Swift and Panic at the Disco like tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, like no, sorry. Like
Yeah, I
the times
definitely did that. I tried to have my like third show or fourth show be Panic at the Disco, and their press guy, so nice to me.
yeah.
He completely changed my life and my experience. He was so cool. Um, I don't remember his name off the top of my head because it's been a long ass time, but he was very, very kind and was like, "Hey, no, dog, but this is for you." Like I would, but like no, don't do this to yourself. Like there was no way. I mean, it was at the Forum, and like I've
Oh,
never shot at the Forum before, but it could have totally been soundboard, and that would have been a problem because I only had a kit lens.
yeah.
So yeah, he kind of did me a favor, but he was very nice. It was very cool that like talking to him about that.
That's so funny. I did shoot Panic at the Disco at the Forum, and there were a lot of people that did not have the correct lenses and stuff to shoot. And the worst part is we're shooting from the sides, and I had a 70 to 200, and I was still struggling. Like all of my images are like overly cropped, and the people that did the best had like a big like 300 or like some other like prime that was just insane. And I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna own that, it's just not useful for me. But
Yeah,
like I had the gear and I still really couldn't do it because I didn't have the gear for that show. So like I think that they really try and get people for like bigger name publications for the arena shows, and I'm just like every time I see an arena show I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be painful. I don't have the gear for this. So
right.
it's just so funny when people come in and they're like, I want to shoot Taylor Swift. I'm like, I've been in this industry for 8 years, 7 years.
Well,
I never
and
know. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do it, you know?
even certain venues, it's like such a learning curve. There's a venue, at least
Yeah.
in LA. I'm sure you shot at the Wiltern before.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
my first time shooting there, I didn't know you were shooting on the ramp. I thought that they had their
Mhm.
own photo pit. And I'd only brought a 50 with me, and I was like, well,
Oh.
great. And the artist had their setup where the lights were coming straight.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, great, even better, sick. And like everybody around me had like zoom lenses, and I was like, awesome. Really happy to know that this is how this experience is gonna go for me.
Yeah. That's actually kind of funny that you say that because I see the will turn come up a lot on like Facebook groups where people are asking like, hey, I'm shooting at the will turn, do I need anything? And that's like the first thing that people are like, you're shooting at the ramp, like you got to have this kind of gear. So like
Yeah.
leveraging Facebook groups for like venues and new locations, I've learned like really recently actually to like start leveraging those groups because there's always going to be someone else who's shot there, and then just to like ask what you need and like what equipment you should have to like be at those venues, because I didn't do that for a lot of my career and got stuck in places like that where I was like shooting a 50 prime lens at like a venue that I definitely needed a 200 mil. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even recently, I've been doing this for 4 freaking years, and one of my most recent shows I shot, and I should have had a flash with me. I just
Uh,
didn't. I'd never
yeah.
been to this venue. I'd never shot here. Didn't know anybody that ever had. and I didn't ask a Facebook group. Like I really should have. And all of my shots were so dark and
Mm.
so grainy. And I sat there like editing for like 2 weeks. It was just like, this is it's definitely the most challenging thing I've ever had to do in my life, because you think you get yourself to a place where you're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And then you have a moment like that and you're like, oh no, I did that. And luckily the band was super cool about it. I like texted them, was like, hey, I messed up. They were so sick. They were so sweet about it. Did not have to be, but they were, and love them.
Okay, so let's jump topics a little bit, because I mentioned that the time that we're filming this, I don't know when I'm gonna post it, but it's during the like quarantine stay at home. And I know that a lot of people are struggling right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about like how you're doing with the stay at home orders, like have your like plans, gigs, anything got canceled? Like what are you doing right now to like, I guess, take up your time, and like what are you planning for? Because I know that it's a really weird time, so I just wanted to talk about it.
Um, it's kind of an interesting story. So when I'm not shooting shows, my day job is I'm a waitress, and I work in Hollywood, so it's mainly tourism. And so maybe the week or two before all this started happening, we got really, really slow. We were slow anyway because this is the off season, but it was really, really slow, and I was able to look at my phone all the time. And on the 12th of March, um, I was just watching show after tour after festival after tour get canceled, postponed, everything. And I was like freaking out watching all of this stuff happen just like before my eyes.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to be going to a show that night, and I was like nervous about if it was still gonna happen. And then like I get a text from someone that's like, dude, like whole tour's canceled. And I was like, damn, like they were at the literally at the Hollywood Palladium setting everything up. But yeah, so I was supposed to go into that show that night, and it just got canceled while I was working. And I like had a whole moment at work, and like all my coworkers were like, dude, are you good? And I was like, no, my industry just fell apart in front of my eyes. My friends
Yeah.
all just lost their jobs before my eyes. Like my friends were in the middle of a tour, and I like texted one of them and was like, hey, like, are you guys gonna be okay? Like, and he was like, dude, I have no idea. Like, we're doing a show tonight, but like, who knows if we're doing anything else?
Yeah.
And they ended up playing that show and then driving straight home. Um, and that they're losing out on all of this touring revenue, and they were supposed to be releasing their album this year. Like, what are they supposed to do? Like, how are they supposed to get their promotion out? It's supposed to be their big year. And I think it's ruined a lot of people in the industry's lives. Luckily, I didn't have anything super intense lined up. But Coachella, I was supposed to be working. That's postponed. I was supposed to be photographing Bottle Rock Napa, postponed. Um, a bunch of other smaller tours postponed. My whole concert calendar, again, within like 2 hours, completely wiped out.
Yeah.
Um, as for what I'm planning, I'm still planning on doing just about everything. A couple of things are clashing now, which is kind of upsetting. Um, so a couple of the festivals that I wanted to shoot are happening the same weekend now,
Yeah.
which is insane. I don't know if you've seen that calendar going around, the just September just block of festivals. Um, like I told my manager, I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm gonna ask every single weekend off until like November once we get back, because like there's just no way to not do that. Um, but I'm still hopefully doing all of this stuff. That's hopefully if things pick up and get better. Um, as for what I'm doing like in quarantine, I actually just moved into this new place. So it's like the growing pains that come with moving somewhere new are kind of happening all at once, which is fine. So it's much easier to get used to somewhere when I'm sitting here 24 hours a day for like several days. But I have actually been brainstorming quite a bit. I actually have my notebook next to me. I have tons and tons and tons of photo shoot ideas, just like sitting in my notebook, just, anytime I think of something kind of cool, I write it down and hope that I can achieve it at some point after this quarantine. Um, I've been I did a couple self-portraits. That was kind of fun. Um, but other than that, I've just been trying to keep my head up and watch out for all of the postponements and all that stuff. But watching stuff slowly inch from like May getting canceled to June getting canceled is kind of hurting right now.
Yeah. No, I totally feel that because it's definitely hard, especially when you have like friends and bands, because I think that the the local musicians are definitely getting hurt really, really hard right now. The ones that were going on tour that were, you know, waiting on all of these shows for their livelihood, and now like these shows are gone. And yes, it impacts everyone else in the industry, and it's just so hard because I think that everyone in the industry has so many industry friends. So it's
Hmm.
just like you watch not only your own life kind of fall apart, but like everyone else's at the same time. So
Yeah.
I'm glad
And
that like you're staying busy and stuff though, and I think that like taking self-portraits and like just trying to shoot or like do something like during this time is really good and really useful. I haven't been really doing a lot of that, but I think that's a good point to make too.
I've also spent all of my time on Amazon. In fact, my roommate and I were just talking about how much money we've dropped on like little things.
Yeah.
Um, I've been buying stuff for photos. I was like, oh, this would be a sick prop, and just like puts it in my cart. Um, there's other stuff non-photography related, definitely. But I've been finding like outfits to style, um, for other photo shoots. Like, oh my gosh, like what websites like ThreadUp are so dangerous right now because I found this is the best thing I've ever done for myself. And like people are like, wow, you're buying all these things in a pandemic. I understand I'm very lucky. I will say that. I'm very lucky that I can do that. But I found $250 pants for $8. And I went, well, I kind of have to. So I did. Um, but I've been definitely styling a lot of shoots in my brain, and so that's what I've been doing a lot
Nice.
of. And hopefully after all this is over, I can just like knock them all out all at once.
Yeah, no, I definitely get like the planning, and I think that it's really good to like have the creative brain like running. So like your list of notebook stuff, I have a very similar one, and it's just you kind of got to do what you got to do to get through it. But
Right.
hopefully, I got my fingers crossed that this lifts soon because yeah, I mean, I think we're all dying to like get out and shoot and do something.
Yeah, I did a shoot the day before everything went to shit.
Oh my gosh.
Um, it was the Sunday before, and I went to West Hollywood. I shot with some Wisteria, went home, edited, looked at my phone. Suddenly, I can't go outside anymore. And I was like, well, I guess I'm glad I did it when I did it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, ooh, that's my last shoot. Like, I wish I had known that while I was doing it, that I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to shoot anybody else. But I've been kind of rigging my own little moment here, doing some photo shoot stuff. I ordered like a tapestry that's supposed to be coming that I'm going to use for a self portrait. Like, just trying to keep busy.
Nice. Okay, I think we're gonna jump topics again and chat a little bit about Girls Behind the Rock show. So I wanted to bring this up because this is how me and you met, and then also like I just want to talk about how good of a resource it is and like what you guys actually do. So can you explain a little bit about Girls Behind the Rock show and like how you got involved and like whether or not it's helped you like open doors or like start anything with your career?
Totally. So Girls Behind the Rock Show is a nonprofit organization dedicated to gender equality in the music industry and helping empower and educate um, young women and non-binary folks to get what they want out of a career in the industry. And we, specifically, I help run the networking group on Facebook, which is almost 8,000 people strong, which is the most insane number I've ever heard in my life. Um, it's like every person in that group is my child, though. Sometimes it's like, oh, I'm like, hello, yes, hi, everybody. But we are a resource to find jobs, find publications, all this stuff. Um, anybody can be in this group if you're a woman or non-binary person. It's so rewarding, and people who go into it thinking, oh, I'll just browse, oh, I'll just kind of watch, oh, I'll just kind of, pick up advice here and there, find themselves completely immersed in it and getting opportunities they never thought that they would. Before I even joined in, I mean, I got hired to work Coachella, and that was like my first really big job in the industry, and it like kind of changed my life, which is insane to say, but it did. It changed my whole life. It changed my perspective. It changed um, the way that I work in the industry, and it introduced me to so many people. And I mean, even being part of the organization in general, I've watched tons and tons of friends, tons and tons of people like get their dream job. I met a girl who got her first like internship through us and then now is an artist manager. One of the girls that works the subgroups with me got her day job from the group. She moved from New York to San Diego thinking that she wouldn't be able to find a job in the industry and ended up finding a perfect one. So it's kind of, it's really rewarding.
Yeah.
And it's definitely helped me out quite a bit. It's helped me kind of realize what I want out of the industry and kind of hone in on my general, this is going to sound strange, general feminist ideas. It's it's definitely helped me like realize kind of the path I want to take, but also realize how to be more selfless. I've definitely found myself, and I say this all the time, with like girl brain, where I'll think about like planning an event or I'll think about planning a post in the group, and I'm like, okay, how can I empower and educate with this? With almost everything I do now. Like it's kind of cool, kind of insane. But we are planning so much. This year was kind of supposed to be our year, but of course a lot of stuff has like gotten placed on hold.
Yeah.
That seems to be like the story I'm hearing from everybody, where it's like, yeah, this was supposed to be my year. Like I was supposed to really pop off, and then here we are. But we actually just got a sponsorship with Skillshare, which is
Nice.
a lot of cool fun. When planning that, I was like, what can I do to fill my own time, but also to be able to bring a resource to everybody else? Because I know tons of people who wouldn't have otherwise signed up, but because it's like we package it with a free trial for 2 months, who knows how long we're going to be in here. So even if you just get the 1 month out of it, if you get both 2 months out of it, it's I've already learned so much by doing one class a day. That's just kind of what I've been putting myself to. I didn't do one yesterday, so I'm going to do two today. But I've been trying to do something new every day, something that I've like thought about wanting to learn, stuff like that. And it has everything. Like I can learn graphic design one day and then learn meditation techniques the next day.
That's such a cool opportunity to like share with all the people in the group, because like you said, we're all stuck here. You might as well learn something during that time. But yeah, I definitely love that group because of all of the connections that I personally got out of it, and having a networking group that's just for women and non-binary people, that you can kind of understand what everyone else is going through in the industry. I personally really, really love it. and it's nice to have that, like, little, like, niche, I guess, because I'm in a lot of,
Mhm.
like, concert photography groups and, like, music industry groups, and none of them seem as, like, close and connected as the Girls Behind the Rock Show one, so I know that I
Totally.
definitely love it.
I was talking to someone literally yesterday, and she was like, "It doesn't feel like people are out to get me in this group.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as competitive, and, like, when you ask a genuine question, you don't get, like, stupid responses, like, you get a lot of genuinely, like, "Oh, this is my take on this," kind of a moment, and people aren't like that in other groups.
Yeah.
So it's very nice to know that we've cultivated this space for people to ask their quote unquote stupid questions and to be completely who they want to be in a group full of people who completely get it.
Yeah, totally. Um, I definitely get that because I'll post every once in a while in, like, bigger concert photography groups, and
Mhm.
there's just weirdly, like, aggressiveness in some groups that people will just, like, attack each other for, like, posting a photo. They're like, "This isn't even good." And I'm like, "Did you need to comment that?" And, like,
Right.
I
Like
started
your whites are 1 degree off. Like, come
yeah.
on.
Yeah, people get, like, super, like, aggressive for no reason for some things. I personally don't get it. Like, I've never wanted to, like, comment hate or something, like, demeaning on someone else's photo, but
Especially in a
that
networking group. Like the whole point
exactly.
is that you're supposed to be a professional in a space. Like, and being aggressive just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it really doesn't, and that's why, like, I like the Girls Behind the Rock Show group because I can join and, like, talk about something, and I know that even if I'm wrong and I post something that, like, people aren't gonna agree with, I'm gonna get, like, taught, you know? I'm not gonna have
right.
people come at me and just, like, bitch. I'm gonna have people, like, educate me, which I
Mhm.
appreciate, and it's so much more helpful, so
Right.
that kind of like goes into my next question and what I always like to ask in my interviews is like, have you experienced any sort of like prejudices or like sexism in the industry? Like, and like if you're comfortable talking about it, like, can you talk about it a little bit? Because I know a lot of people coming into this industry that are women have like come to me saying like, hey, I've experienced XYZ and had no idea. So like I try and bring light to different prejudices and stuff that are going on. So
Mhm.
if you want to talk about your experiences, I would love that.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely been times where I've been passed up for a gig because of being a lady. Being a touring woman is probably one of the hardest things unless you have tons and tons of experience. And even then, they still get treated like garbage. I've never personally been like super prejudiced against at like a venue in person, but definitely have seen it. I try my best to like make friends with security so that stuff like that wouldn't happen.
Hmm.
And that kind of sucks that that's kind of what I have to do in order to know that like, okay, I'm not gonna get dragged by my hair out of this pit because I've seen that and seen friends experience that. A friend of mine got kicked out of a venue even though she had an all access pass because she didn't look like she was supposed to be there, which was insane, and they had to sneak her back in, like, it was a whole ordeal. I've definitely experienced tons of stuff like that, um, but it's also, like, really interesting to see other people's experiences from that in the group. People are constantly posting their experiences in the group, and
Yeah.
I'm very empathetic to stuff like that, and I'm always blown away at the audacity
Yeah.
sometimes. Um, but nothing off the top of my head, like story-wise, I can think of.
Yeah. I think there was one thing in the group that like always sticks in my head is this girl like was I shouldn't say girl. This young woman was talking about how she was reaching out to a band and like they accidentally like texted her or something
I
and
remember
like
this post.
and
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, this was the one that said like I don't know. It was something like, "Oh, we don't
They
want
were
to
concerned
deal."
about her, but they were concerned about her being a woman, but less concerned because she was a lesbian, I think.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
They were like, "Oh yeah, she might cause drama, but like maybe not because she's a
At least she's not
lesbian."
trying to get at us. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah,
That was
and
insane.
yeah, that was just like the most absurd thing. And that, like, they accidentally texted her. So she had proof of this whole like story that they were communicating behind her back. And I was just like, holy crap, this is absurd. Like, who talks about this? And like, who would be texting their friend, like, oh yeah, our girlfriend shouldn't worry because like this girl is a lesbian, so like she won't be going after us. So I guess we could probably take her on tour. And I'm like, is this really what people talk about?
Yeah, like
Um,
it's something crazy to hear about, and then like to see like a story like that completely unfold. You're like, what? Like the fact that people like that still exist is just crazy.
yeah.
But it's not even always like musicians dealing with that kind of stuff. Like it's sometimes like even higher up, like it's management, trying to be like, well, you have a really marketable face and you have a really marketable aesthetic. So having a woman on tour might make your fans think a certain way about her. Um, I have a friend who tours that sometimes we'll tour with like really, really good fan base artists, and then sometimes we'll tour with complete asshole fan bases. And it's just like, I don't understand why it's two completely different worlds.
No, it's so hard to navigate, and that's one thing that like I like to talk about and bring it up because I know a ton of touring women that don't have any issues, and they've been very like blessed to be in certain positions and also like work with artists that have great fan bases. So there's a lot of people that like don't get any sort of like prejudices against them, and I'm like, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist for all of these kind of either smaller name bands or just bands and artists with different fan bases. And
Right.
like there's just kind of there's assholes in the industry, and it's like you got to know who's what and like
Yeah.
kind of not let it bother you. But at the same time, I think that like talking about these things and like bringing it up definitely helps and definitely like kind of makes light to it instead of just pushing it under the rug so people are like, this doesn't exist, because
It's just
it
it's
clearly
just kind
does.
of insane, even to hear friends of mine in the industry be like, yeah, I grew up with this music scene and I almost dated so and so, but I was like 16 and he was like 20. Like the amount of stories I've heard like that so
Mm-hmm.
casually in networking events or just like having conversations with people. Like I was talking to this girl that I'm really close with, and she was like, "Yeah, no, you remember like so and so from this band way back in the day? Yeah, no, like he and I talked all the time when I was 14." And I was like, "Why was that so normalized?
So
And why are we
common.
all still dealing with it? Right? Why are we all still dealing with stuff like that? Like that's still something that comes up a lot."
Yeah.
Um, and I can't. It blows my gosh darn mind.
Yeah, the industry is a weird place. Like I love it, but at the same time, like you dig into things like this, I'm like, wh- why is this a thing? Like
Right.
why is someone allowing this still? And like why are we not talking about it more? Pretty much. But
Sometimes never meet your heroes, but sometimes only meet your heroes. It's
yeah,
so hit or miss.
yeah, definitely. Well, I only have one more question for you, and then we'll wrap this up. And my this last question is my favorite question, but I just wanted to know, jazz hands, what is like the best piece of advice that you would give to someone starting out? Just like, what would you want them to know?
It's so funny because I remember the last time you asked me this. Um, what I answered, and it's not what I'd answer now, which is kind of insane. That's like 2 years ago.
Okay,
It's completely
first
changed.
of all, what did you answer last time? Like,
I'm pretty sure last time I said something like, "Don't let people drag you down. Like, don't let
okay.
people's opinions of you hurt you." And as much as that's still my advice, like, definitely don't let that happen. Definitely take people's criticisms and pull what you need to from it. Um, because I found myself, I mean, I always find myself being like, this is my best work I'm doing right now. And then like 2 months later being like, ew, that's disgusting. Why did I do
Yeah.
that? And people sometimes are giving you criticism out of their best judgment and out of their heart and being like genuine about it. And then sometimes they're not. And it's
Yeah.
very much about picking the stuff that you need to be picking out of that
Mhm.
and developing yourself and developing your career as a person and as a photographer. And also, don't be afraid to squat in the pit. I see people staring at me for like sitting at the barricade and going like this, or like squatting and going like this. Like people are always staring at me for doing stuff like that, but I get really good shots that way. So don't judge people for squatting in the pit. You should squat in the pit one time. It's really, really good for your legs and it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It was so nice to have you and chat with you. And thank you for all of the advice and the tips and everything that you gave. So, um, unless you have something else that you want to end with, no?
Um, I always say something funny at the end of my interviews, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm trying to like
I'll
look
give
over
you
my
10 seconds.
um, 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 I don't know. Shoot, what's an album I've been listening to lately? Let's find something I can talk about. Oh yeah. Um, Don Broco is the best band of all time, and that's it. Period.
Nice.
It's true.
Good ending point there. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Sam. Thank you. And I will have all of your links and everything down below. So please, really quick shout out like where people can find you and
People can find me on Instagram at Samantha period paper, Samantha dot paper. Yeah, and my website is pagephotos.com.
perfect. So everyone go check out Sam and send her some love. And Sam, thanks so much again for joining me.
Of
Thank
course.
you. Bye.